All righty, folks. We've been talking about this amazing 50-40-10, i.e. the 90% CLTV loan for a while now, but something just happened. We now have finally crossed the chasm. Instead of being a tool that the buyers must understand, we now have the sellers saying, hey, what do I need to do to sell my home? It is a buyer's market. And the smart sellers, the sellers who are motivated, are now reaching out to Stephen Dow saying, tell me more about this loan so I can put it in the description and sell my home. Stephen, great to be here. Do the marketing spiel real quick and we'll get into this sexy topic.
Although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, you would think all the money I make from that, I could buy a better t-shirt. Well, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel, that of my own. So let's get it going.
Very cool. Do me a favor, Stephen, get closer, a little bit closer to the mic if you can, or increase the volume. But okay. You're okay. We can still hear you, just maybe a little louder. That's all right.
You got it.
So again, we've been talking for a while now about we need to crack the code of getting listing agents or sellers to realize that this 90% CLTV, or better yet, the 50-40-10 is a sales tools. Because, you know, what buyer wouldn't want to buy a building or a house with 10% down, lower blended interest rate, you know, all of that. But now, if there's a seller out there that they can't sell, they haven't had a showing in 2 weeks, it's been on the market 90 days. If the seller's in a position, they should put in the description, seller financing available, seller 50-40-10, you know, whatever it is. And that will definitely get activity, right?
Oh, I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, again, as just from your own perspective, if you read a listing that said potential seller financing, you know, with as little as 10% down,
boom.
I think that would at least increase foot traffic, at least a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, now I was like so excited to finally get across to a seller, because I remember you and I have been having that conversation. What buyer wouldn't want to do that? Now it's mainly the sellers that have to get this information so that they can recognize that the options are available, so then they can start to kind of, you know, contemplate, is that an option for me? You know, and then start to kind of put the numbers. How much can I actually just take for now? You know what I mean? And then kind of figure out those figures. But no, it's definitely exciting. We're moving in the right direction. I think the way we talk about this product at Ignatium, like I used to think, like,
the buyer's market. The buyer's market is perfect for this. Again, buyers, myself included, we've done seller financing. I've done the 50-40-10. We've pitched it all the time. But now we've crossed the gap. You know, it's a buyer's market when sellers go, tell me more about this lending product because I want to pitch it and I want to sell it. Because again, what does that mean? A, that means the seller has a decent amount of equity.
Yep.
But B, they know they're not going to get all their proceeds at closing.
Right.
Right. Even if they own it free and clear, they're going to get a maximum of 60%. Right. And they might get 50. It just depends on what they negotiate.
Right.
And then C, they're going to get income. They're going to, you know, give the middle finger to the IRS. I mean, it's really good for the sellers as well. But if you're a seller out there and you've been on the market 100 days and you haven't had a showing in 3 weeks, I promise you, if you reach out to Stephen Dow and his email's right there on the screen and say, tell me more, he can help you understand what your options are, your equity position, what you can offer, and you will definitely get investor demand. That's the key to this. Because again, the buyer, myself included, if I can come in for 10% and cash flow, I really don't give a rat's ass what the price is. Right.
Well, I mean, yes and no. You obviously do to some degree.
Yeah, to some degree, but yes.
Right. But not too much of a deal killer, I guess, in a sense. It's all about cash flow. So you can give the seller their price. They just need, you know, they gotta give you your term. So I actually found the email of the gentleman that reached out to me. So we took a deep dive into, you know, everything that he would need to know and how to, you know, go about this. You know, even having the conversation. I had another gentleman reach out to me that unfortunately he caught me at the bad time. It was Monday. I had like a small window to try to get all the fundings because it was the end of the month. So he wanted to go, you know, from A to Z, not knowing anything about even real estate investing. So I was like, I don't got the time for it right now. I have to call you back because, you know, it's the end of the month. So he was, anyway, long story short, from both buyers and sellers, please reach out, because I think, you know, leveling up and understanding how to structure the financing so you can have a more, you know, impactful conversation with the seller, I think That's really what it's going to take, because you can approach them, but not if you're not really conveying the right message, they're just not going to grasp it, and they're just going to feel lost.
They're going to walk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to be able to have the conversation, understand why it's good for the seller.
Right.
You know, tax savings, maintain income, you know, maybe a slightly higher price.
Yep.
And why it's good for the buyer, right? I'm just so excited that a seller reached out to you and said, help me under, because that tells me we're right. We're over the target.
Yep.
This is the best tool, the most flexible tool, the most powerful tool. And it's frankly a tool that's a win-win creator. If you're willing to have a conversation, you build trust between the buyer and the seller, the investor and the seller, everybody could win. You can get a decent price.
Yep.
The investor gets decent cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
You save on taxes because it's an installment loan.
Mm-hmm.
You maintain security because it's a position.
And you get to sell now.
And you get to sell now, right? Reduce the headaches, put the headaches on someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. No more offensive lowball offers, every single day.
Yeah. And then the other thing to realize is, again, it's becoming more obvious that you can use this in this market, right? We talk about houses and duplexes and quads all the time, but I was on the phone with some folks in syndications that are blowing up right now. I'm convinced that there will be some people that buy apartment buildings, mixed use, office with residential above, right? This applies for all of that, right?
Oh, 100%. I've actually, not from the ORAT family, but I've had people reach out to me, asking as far as if the borrower wanted to move into, a multifamily, can we do that? Oh, yeah. And so that kind of just blew their mind that this is another, option for that particular buyer. And it's of a benefit to the transaction because owner-occupied commercial allows for certain leniencies for, DSCR if required above a certain loan amount. Actually, on the purchase of owner-occupied commercial, which includes multifamily, we allow loan amounts from $750,000 and below, no ratio.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you do a 50-40-10, you're potentially talking about buying a $1.5 million building.
You got it. Yep.
It could be.
Put
down 150 grand.
Yep. And you live in one of the units and have all your other tenants pay your mortgage.
Yeah, you're basically going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger bought a 6-unit building, lived in it. That's what allowed him to have the financial wherewithal to get into acting.
On steroids. I didn't really want to bring up steroids with Arnold in the same sentence, but
I don't think it's a secret.
Cat's out of the bag. Damn it, Steve. Oh man. Sorry, Arnold. Sorry.
Sorry, Arnold. Yeah, you're good. It's all right. He's still lifting weights. He's looking good for, I don't know how old he is. He's 72, 73, something like that.
Is he? I thought he's like maybe he's gotta be late 70s for sure, but yeah.
But at the end of the day, he got his start even before he was an actor. He bought a 6-unit building, lived in it. He's house hacked before it was a thing.
He took advice from, I think, his landlord or somebody. Was like, what are you doing all your money? Yeah.
Again, at the end of the day, I think there's somebody in the one rental at a time family is going to buy a 100-unit building, probably live in one of the units just to go totally geek out and house hack.
That would be ridiculous. That would be such an awesome success story. Like
I'm going to speak it into existence. It's going to happen.
Both. Yeah. Because it is possible. Just finding the right motivated seller. That's the linchpin throughout this whole thing, because buyers want this, right? It's all about the sellers now. So
well, let's talk to sellers and agents one more time. If you are a seller, again, that you haven't sold your house, it's not getting any showings, this might be something you should look at. But more importantly, agents, wake up. It is a buyer's market. If you've got a frustrated seller, you should reach out to Stephen Dow. His email's on the screen. Agents. Reach out to Stephen Dow. Understand if this is a tool that your sellers could benefit from. Save your listing. You've already spent thousands of dollars. Don't lose.
Right. And typically, this is a benefit to the agent as well, because we're not looking for a lowball offer. We're trying to keep your price so you get your full commission. So for the agent, it's also a benefit to try to learn about this product, because again, that'll allow them to sell at the highest possible price and still be able to kind of move the the
win.
Right. So just a numbers game, just crunching some numbers. So give me a call or actually email better, and let's go down deep down, jump down the rabbit hole a little bit.
All right, sellers, agents, investors, if you want to know more about the best investing tool, loan type, the 90% CLTV, 50-40-10, they got to reach out to you, Stephen. How do they do that?
Email's the best again, sdao@velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, please remember to put the acronym ORAAT to make it past the firewall. in the body of the email, a brief description what you're looking for, city and state address would be actually super helpful just to make sure we can lend there. Your mid FICO score and the best phone number to reach you at, and typically 24 or 40 hours, I'll be in touch.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks again, folks. Sellers, agents, if you have a listing that's stale, do yourself a favor. Reach out to Stephen Dow, see if he can help you. Take care,
Couldn't
buddy.
hurt. You know what I mean?
Couldn't
That's
hurt.
one extra tool. So
Later.
thanks, Mike. Have a good weekend, man.